Okay, friends, we're on to part 2. I actually hate all of you. I hate all of you. I hate all of you. God damn, I hate using this, Ike said, loading his double barrel. Well, the other pump actions are broken, so you're stuck with that, I said. How do the other pump actions break? It's a long story, no doubt more interesting than what I'm telling you about now, but I refuse to tell you about it, because I hate you. Where'd you get this, by the way? Nick asked while holding up the .500 S&W revolver. He popped open the cylinder and loaded in 5 rounds. Found it on a roof. It was just abandoned there with a few boxes of ammo, Andy said, because we live in a fucking video game. That's weird, but I like it, Nick said. Once loaded, he stuck the revolver, which is completely impractical, incredibly loud, has recoil absolutely ridiculous. Never mind. He stuck the revolver in his belt. We then began the long journey to Luke Air Force Base. While we were in seeing range of the base, we noticed the gates were missing, and there were 3 cars parked in front of the base. A loud engine noise was coming from inside of the base. Did people just start raiding military bases a year in? When we were close enough, I noticed that they, because they could see people, we didn't learn about that, were attempting to cut into a building with what looked like a power saw. Okay. I'll take point, I said, while stepping out of the car and putting on my boonie. Inside of the base, there were 12 people. When you hear a gunshot, shoot them all, I said, while pulling out my garrote. We weren't thieves or raiders. We've seen these people killing other survivors for their supplies. You just happen to see these people? I know that a kid wrote this, but if he was just 16... You know, I was writing fanfic when I was 16. I was, admittedly not writing in this fandom because it didn't exist yet, but still. Like, I knew the basics of storytelling here, and the one thing is you have to have some kind of precedent. You can't just say, oh yeah, by the way, right? This is like 8-year-old tier. And that's not an English as a second language thing, that's a basic characteristic of storytelling. I mean, it'd be sort of like, or actually this happened in the old Superman comic. Superman would randomly get a power he needed for a situation. So if he was getting audited by the IRS, he would have a tax array or some crap, right? That's what this is. Not quite as extreme, but just as bad. I snuck behind a guard that was armed with only a pistol. I can see all this guard's thing, it's, you know, it's whatever. And wrapped the previously aforementioned garrote around his throat. I carefully did this while he watched. I was like, here, let me just get this. And he was like, yeah, you chill. After the garrote was correctly around his neck, I pulled my Bowie knife and stabbed him in the throat. Why didn't you do that in the first place? Taking his pistol, a 1911A1, in my right hand, I pulled out my PK and prepared to dual wield. If I wasn't ambidextrous, I would be wasting so much ammo. Ugh. You know, both those guns have different recoil. Like, or at least I assume. I've never actually fired either of these. But generally, they're gonna... I mean, let me see. I'm gonna look this up. A 1911A1 is a... It's the Remington, of course. And it is a .45. So that's gonna have quite a kick. And meanwhile, a PPK is... That's a pistol, by the way. And the PPK, oh, it's a James Bond gun. Also a pistol. But... Oh, this is a series. Frick. Yeah, this fires .32 ACP. Which is... I don't know that much. I only go shooting occasionally, but I'm pretty sure those are going to have, you know, different recoils, and they're going to be really, really difficult and weird to dual wield. And really, dual wielding itself is really difficult and weird, even if you are ambidextrous. The point isn't that you're not right-handed, it's that you don't have both hands on the gun, so you can't control it properly. And... Sneaking behind another guard, I shot him in the head with the PPK in my left hand. These gunshots are loud. You know, like, I don't think this kid has ever actually fired a gun or something, because if you shoot a gun in a warehouse, everyone's going to hear it immediately. Like, these guards are not just going to be standing there like, wow, what was that? Extremely loud. ear-destroying noise I just heard. With the 1911 A1 in my right hand, I shot a guard twice in the chest. And he shot a guy 4 times, twice in the chest, 1 in the arm, and the last in the head. Why? I mean, I guess, is Andy using like an automatic gun? Or like a semi-auto, and he's just, spraying. If you get someone twice in the chest, you really don't need to waste ammo, because they're probably going down if you're, unless you're using a small caliber weapon. Whatever. He wasted the rest of his mag missing and shooting myself once. Thank God for my armor. Well, I could shot 2 guards in their midsections with his shotgun. Okay. Let me go back and see what kind of gun this Andy guy actually has. It doesn't say. .9mm carbine. Okay, maybe. Body armor, what else, maybe. I saw one man who was shot by Nick pull out a sidearm. Oh no, shoot. Nick with his .500 S&W shot 3 people, only missing once. I used up the rest of my ammo left in my pistols. At the 2 of the last people, I saw one man who was shot by Nick pulling out a sidearm. Reacting, I implanted one of my 3 throwing knives into his left eye. Andy, grabbing my knife, will you? Sure, he said, grabbing the knife and wiping the blade on the shirt of one of the dead soldiers. Andy, you also shot me once in the back, I said, casually, while slapping him on the back of the head for yet another reason while receiving yet another ow in all caps and not quotes from him. Again, thank God for body armor. As I moved to what they were working on, I noticed something one of them had. Picked it up, I looked at it in the sun. Oh my God, a Desert Eagle. It was indeed the famous pistol, and yes, it was the .50 AE version. In addition to the pistol, I looted around 14 magazines from the body. I then checked the body of the first man that died, adding several 1911 magazines to my possession. I love the 1911. Plain and simple. It's a little outdated, but it's kind of like owning a muscle car. Sure. Hey, look what I found, Nick said while pulling out a Taurus Judge. Dear God, a .140 shotgun revolver. This kid is real good with Wikipedia. Let's look at a Taurus Judge. Taurus Judge, which I've never heard of before in my whole life. I have no idea what this is. Wikipedia article. 5-shot revolver. Designed by Taurus International. Self-defense tool against carjacking and home protection. There is a carbine version. And it does shoot shotgun rounds. Well, I guess that might be kind of useful in a zombie apocalypse. Okay. And look at this, Ike said, while holding up a Colt Python and a Smith & Wesson Model 29. No. Or can I? No, Ike said, cutting me off. But I said, no, Ike repeated. These are staying with me. He doesn't end the quote on that line. The Smith & Wesson Model 29 is an extremely cool gun, best known for its appearance in Dirty Harry. This is me talking, not the fanfic, by the way. However, it's also a giant revolver, okay? It's maybe useful in some situations, but the problem is, if you want to be quiet or stealthy, that's not the gun that you pick ever, okay? It's huge. Like, I can't even talk about how big this gun is. You shoot someone with it, and they'll do like 4 backflips before hitting the ground, right? But everyone within a 3-mile radius will know you shot it. 3 mile might be a little exaggeration, but still, this is a really, and it's a revolver. It's not a zombie gun, okay? It's not something you want to use on zombies. Especially because zombies don't die unless you hit them in the head, and, I mean, it is a revolver. I guess those are pretty accurate, yeah, but you want to be aiming for center mass with something that has a pretty low rate of fire, and not that big, not that high capacity. Let's continue. I looked at what they looked at, oh God, this sentence. This is the verbatim. I looked at what they looked at, what they were cutting through. I think what this means is, I looked at what the guys were looking at and cutting through. Ha! Those idiots thought that they could cut through the door to a military armory with a concrete cutter. Luckily for me, I brought some thermite, I said, while placing 2 cans of the aforementioned low explosive. Quick explanation for those that don't know, thermite is low explosive and burns at several thousand degrees, capable of melting through nearly anything. Yes, thermite is also, okay, if you're doing it at the door, maybe, but if this is an army base, it might have explosives behind it, and I guess if you use a small amount of thermite, still, I'd recommend using caution, or maybe not even bothering to break in at all. You already got like 8 different guns. You know, you don't need... Let's go on. Everyone step back, I said, before lighting the fuse to the thermite. After the 2 cans lit, the door's locks melted away in a matter of seconds. As the door fell forward with a loud thud, why is it falling down? I thought he brought her in through the locks, not the hinges. We stepped in and saw the motherload of weapons. All of us dropped our jaws to the ground, staring at rows and rows and rows of, guess what, more rows... Oh, rows and rows and guess what, more rows of guns, ammo, and explosives. What a sentence. It's a dream come true. Well, don't get any guns yet. Let's check the base's mechanic zones for a vehicle. Again, this place would be completely empty a year in. Also, you know, you could... Like, you're putting so much effort into describing the guns beforehand. You could maybe talk about, like, what kind of stuff. Or at least, like, oh, there was assault rifles and shotguns and, you know, add a little bit of detail. On the second side, if you add detail, this gets longer, and I really would prefer to stop reading sooner rather than later. The door to the mechanic zone was the same as the armory, and that was ended the same way as the armory. Inside, we saw tanks, APCs, LAVs, Hummers, Deuces, and more. Unfortunately, most of the vehicles were missing either engine parts, tires, or sections. The good vehicles were gone. The military must have deployed as many of their vehicles as fast as possible to contain the earlier events of the infection. You know what? Good. That actually makes sense. That actually makes sense. You know, that's a story beat I could see being in a real thing. The military's already done, so only the shitty weapons are left. I could see that being in a good story. The only functioning vehicle, or the only vehicle left functioning, was an M45 that was equipped with a troop transport bed instead of the usual cargo bed. Okay, and now you just ruined it. Do you check over all the things? This could be a good character moment where, again, your characters don't exist. They're friggin' like first-person shooter protagonists, but even less developed. But, like, imagine a group of teenagers that are all scared, and they've been in this zombie thing for a year, and they're finally like, oh my god, weapons and crazy vehicles. Maybe our lives are about to get a little better, and then the crushing disappointment is they check everything, and none of it starts, and it's all broken, and it all sucks, and the only thing that works is a troop transport ship. I mean, that's something that could have been a very interesting scenario. That's a way for you to develop your characters and also develop the scenario and maybe expand on a couple of the themes that you're trying to get past. What you're currently doing is just bullshit. Like, whatever. This is the only vehicle in this place that can move. Guys, load this up with anything usable. After scavenging from the garage, Nick pulled the truck up to the armory. While at the armory, I said, load up all the ammo, tactical gear, food, explosives, gasoline, diesel, medical supplies, armor, video games, novels, illegal drugs, prescription medication, non-prescription medication, tampons, dildos, condoms, other things that you can find while I pick your weapons. Then choose your weapon. Don't take too much, we still have to be able to drive. I don't know much about the M54. Let's see what the M54 is. I actually don't know what this is. It's a Buick. It's an engine. Well, the M54 truck is a U.S. military-grade cargo truck. It is rated for 5-ton off-road cargo loads and 10 tons highway. 5 tons. You wouldn't. This is. I don't know much about the Air Force base they're at, but if that's a Mazer base, there's no way they're taking. Wait, it's an Air Force base. It's a frigging Air Force base. Well, they would still have an armory there, but like, they're not even going to mention the planes. Those are the coolest part. I mean, at least throw away that there's like an abandoned A-10 or something. Anyway, you could fill this up with a lot of shit before you get even close. okay? You're probably going to be off-road, so do the 5-pound limit, but still, that's a lot of stuff, right? You could spend... After everything was loaded up to the truck, I took out 150 pounds of RDX, a blasting cap, and electric time detonator. I'm not super smart. I'm going to look up what RDX is. This guy only seems to, okay, let's see. Explosive and nitromane. So, basically, it's a high explosive. You can detonate it with velocity. This is not something that I would want to pick up in like a scenario where I don't know if I'm, well, I don't really know. This might be worth it, but 150 pounds of RDX, I feel like that's a lot. I don't know what the yield of this is, but, I mean, it's considered one of the most powerful of the military high explosives. Like, this is complete overkill. And it's honestly a little bit dangerous to have that much explosive. Like, you know, you accidentally like that, you blow... Oh, God. Oh, God, I know why he has all this. Okay, I just read a little ahead. Tran, you crazy Asian, what are you going to do? Ike asked. Well, I'm blowing up the armory so no one else has access to them. We've seen how bad the raiders thieves can get, and we don't need them with any more weapons. Timer's going for 25 minutes, and it's going into the armory with the rest of the ordnance. We need to get out of here before it blows, I replied, preparing a bomb. Why don't you just live in the base? You have a shitload of weapons. Why are you leaving? There's no reason to leave. It's so much easier to secure a place that's designed to be secure than to secure a shitty house. Now, again, I guess I can see his point. The base might get raided a lot or some other kind of thing. But, you know, you're not an explosives expert. You could seriously screw this up. This could kill you. Like, there's this thing called prudence, okay? And as my grandfather always said, prudence is knowing when to stop with the hookers, okay? And it works too with explosives. As we left Luke Air Force Base and drove 25 minutes away, we heard a loud boom in the distance and felt a shockwave. I don't know if that's realistic or not. I'm not in explosives weapons. Nick and Ike were sitting in the front while my brother and I was in the back. The trip from the base to where we live would take 4 hours to travel back and forth. Okay, wait a minute. So that means that this would have taken them a shitload of time walking. Like, it's not like you have to care. Even if you're going 40 miles an hour, okay, 4 hours is 160. Yeah, 160 miles. Wait, no, that's completely wrong. No, that's friggin' 40 miles an hour, 4 hours is 40 times 4. Oh my god. 104. So stupid. Yeah, 160 miles. What the hell? I don't know. Sorry, it's past midnight, okay? Chill. 160 miles. It's gonna take you long-ass time to walk. Like, they would have had to camp. Whatever. Scheisse. Shit. I forget how to pronounce that. I should know. Shit, brackets German. We have 3 cars tailing us. They must have seen the explosion, I said, before some of the people in the cars shouting at us. Oh, hiet. Holy fuck. Russian, I yelled before getting hit once in the vest and another grazing my unprotective legs. Verdamen, goddammit, German. I know all these curse words in all these languages, apparently. Andy hit the deck. I'll get rid of them, I said, while pulling out an M4A1 fitted with an M203 along with a box of 40mm grenades and 4 extra Betamags. Then I quickly wrapped my grazed leg in bandages. Are you going to take care of them or are you going to bandage your leg? Really, you probably... Wait a minute, how is it hitting your leg? I guess maybe they shot through the thing, but... You should get your friend to shoot at them, because you just got shot. Okay, whatever. Before the zombie apocalypse, I was getting ready to join the military. I started at a young age and gained many skills and also read up on a lot of military things along with other things. Like what other things? Is this kid a James Joyce scholar? When you are shooting at cars, you have to shoot at the engine, and this should preferably be done with a good dose of ammo. The bullets will kill the engine of the car, and eventually the car will slow to a halt. You totally needed to be learned in militaries to do that. You know, you could also shoot the tires, or the driver. What kind of cars are they driving? Are they driving an armored vehicle? If they're driving an armored vehicle, it's a really stupid idea to shoot at the friggin' vehicle, because, you know, it's designed to get shot at. You should shoot at the people in it, and even then it's armored. It's designed to get shot there, too. Or, you know, you could maybe try to outrun them, or something else. I quickly disabled 2 of the cars by dumping 10 rounds into the engines and another with a grenade. I started reloading a new grenade into the M203 when a golden flash blinded me. Thinking I was simply blinded by some outside source, like God telling me to stop persecuting the Christians and, you know, do stuff and become Paul. I randomly fired the grenade, hoping to hit the last car. You're blinded and you're firing a grenade blind. Great military school. Amazing. I felt the truck crashing. I slowly regained my eyesight. While rubbing my eyes, I noticed that we'd crashed inside of a building and I shot a group of zombies with a grenade, blowing them all up. Que diomenos? What the hell? Spanish, I said, while looking at the zombies I shot. Guys, was I the only one to get blinded by a bright golden light? No, they all said in unison. We all stepped out of the deuce and noticed large doors. Ike, lock that door with a chain, I said, while tossing him a lock. Are you confused because you're just suddenly inside? Like, that's... Okay, if I'm driving in my car and all of a sudden I'm inside of a building, I'm gonna be freaked out. Then again, these guys did see all their friends die and a lot of other horrible crap happening, and just didn't care, so maybe they're all stoic. After locking the door, we went to the group of zombies we blow up, or so we thought. Upon closer inspection of the corpses, I found green blood and pony-shaped bug carapaces. The only corpse that wasn't blown up resembled a small cartoonish mix of a pony and a bug. Wait a minute, I recognize that. What the hell is that? I asked. Nick, is that what I think it is? Yes, he replied. Well, guys, if that's what I think it is, then we were probably in an obscure comic book published in the 80s. It was called Bug Ponies, and it was extremely weird. It was done by Frank Miller, actually, when he was on drugs, so he signed it Maduna, that's the best you can pronounce it, and then distributed via photocopier. The basic idea was that, like, this geneticist had turned himself into a horse and had sex with a cockroach, and it created this race of horrible creatures, and it was extremely well done comic. It was actually a whole metaphysical story about communism, really. Incredibly amusing. Oh. Actually, well, guys, if this is what I think it is, then you're probably in Equestria. Wait, Equestria. As an MLP Equestria, Ike asked. Yes, I think, I began, before you all are loud claiming from the door. Who is in the armory? This is the Changeling Captain, and this is an invasion. What? Do they hiss now? You can't let guards are doomed. Surrender and get out of the army. We'll ensure. It's not a. It's a sh noise. You can't just do S's. Your quick death, a hissing voice said. Fuck you. Ike said, not shouted. And what is with the goddamn hissing? I like Ike. Then you will die. Enter a different fucking dimension that is supposed to be filled with love and tolerance, and we have to kill something already, Ike said. Why should we help them, Andy asked. Well, we must help the good. Wait, help who? This guy's like, we're going to murder you. You don't know the context of this scenario at all. Like, you know, I would let's say you put me in this scenario. First of all, I would pretty much assume that I'm dead, and that this is some sort of hell or eternal punishment. But second of all, I would start killing things. But I wouldn't talk about it first. I would be like, shit, I'm in the middle of a hostile area, but I have a crap load of weapons somehow, so I better just get out as fast as I possibly can. Then again, maybe I'd think about it a little bit and be like, actually no, I'm probably in a hive of some kind. There's no way I can fight my way through all these things. Then again, we don't really know the capabilities of the changelings. I don't know how much ammo these guys have. I mean, guns are pretty frigging effective, especially if they're, you know, stupid bugs that just line up in a line and you can just shoot through them. Whatever. Well, we must help the good, and if we don't, those changelings will just kill us. We've begun to arm ourselves, throwing off our old armor, putting on a set of IOTV armor. I took off my current plate carrier, taking off pieces and parts of it. I replaced the ceramic plates of my current vest with the steel plates of my old vest. Although steel plates were significantly heavier, they were capable of stopping more bullets and would not shatter, unlike ceramic plates. Then I treated my leg again. Okay, you're 120 pounds. You're not carrying steel plates around all the time. You know, it's just not something that's happening, dude. Huge listing of weapons. He's now carrying, like, just an absurd amount. Oh, he has one sword in the truck. M60 with grip. RPG 70. RPG 7. Has the ridiculous gun. Some shotgun pistols. Vector SMG with dual mags and a red dot ACOG hybrid scope. Is this guy plays Call of Duty a lot. Ike has an AK-47. I don't... Okay. Yeah, I wanted to check so I didn't look like an idiot, but I was pretty sure of this. We don't use the AK. We don't. We use the M16. That's our standard thing. You're not going to find an AK at an army base, or at least a U.S. army base. We proceeded to the army doors that were still emitting sounds of thudding. My guess is they were trying to break in, probably with a battering ram. Okay, everyone, step away from the door, I said. What are you going to do? I asked. Dusting it with fairy dust, I replied, while pulling out explosives. Oh shit, Ike said. All three of them ran away from the door, ducking for cover behind the truck. I laughed at their common sense. What? Nick, come back here. I'm going to need some help. What? Why me? Nick asked. I need a lift. A few minutes later, several charges of explosives were set up in the door in a spiderweb design. We all ducked behind the truck. Blasting! I yelled out. I slammed the detonator on my head. What? The doors exploded outward, immediately rupturing my eardrums because they just set off explosives in an enclosed room. Again, calming down. Doors exploded outward. Apparently, there were tons of them trying to break in here as enough blood had pooled out under the remains of the door to create a large puddle. Good on you, kid. And this is where we left off from the beginning of the chapter. We had grabbed plenty of ammunition for each of our weapons, so we knew that we'd be using them up pretty quickly, as our intended targets were relatively easy to hit. We also didn't have to worry much about them being able to kill, much less injure us. Their weapons were mostly melee, and they wouldn't be able to get within swinging range, until you all have to reload. Like, it's pretty scary to go through a group of an insanely large number of things when you have very little people. Like, you know, guns don't have infinite magazine capacity. Everywhere we went, there was a trail of changeling bodies, and eventually I was down to my 870, Nick was down to his hand cannons, Annie was down to his M9s, and Ike was down to his double-barrel shotgun. Didn't you just raid an armory? Shouldn't you have a shitload of weapons? Wait, are you not bringing the truck? Can the truck fit through the door? This would be really useful information to know. The four of us were in front of two doors. I recognized the door from an old TV show. It was the door to Celestia's throne room? But changeling... I took out whatever C4 I had left, a detonator and some det cord. With duct tape, I applied the mentioned materials to the door. Everyone stand back, I said, while handing Ike the detonator and prepping a flashbang. The second door blew open. I threw in a flashbang. After going inside, we saw the main six, Princess Celestia, Princess Luna, Princess Caden, 6 guards in shining armor. Guys, shut the door, I said. Okay, I'm going to look at this in a little bit of depth. But I'm actually going to need to cut here. So I'm going to cut, and then we're gonna go through everything that's wrong with just the first 2 sentences of that paragraph.